My name is Devashni Vartharaju, and this is my independent study unit for English. For this project, we were assigned to pick an issue that intrigued us, and I picked rape.
Rape is not a joke! Rape is not a joke! Rape is not a joke! Rape is not a joke!
What is rape? Rape is a form of sexual assault that happens when someone tries to have sexual intercourse without another person's consent. This means that two people in a room, one wants to have sexual intercourse and the other says no. But the other one says yes and does it anyway.
There's no reason for rape to happen actually. There could be so many, I think it's influenced by the environment. One, it could be maybe peer pressure by the others. Maybe they just need to prove a point among their friends. Or psychopathic. People who rape are psychopathic because you compare them to animals. Animals do it anywhere. Human beings are Homo sapiens, are given the liberty to choose. So they can do something or not to do.
Rape is a very lengthy issue, so I'll be covering 3 aspects of it. Types of rape, why victims are blamed, and controversial debates about rape. There are so many types of rape that so many people don't know about. I have gathered 6 to explain. It is the claim of military men that women are serving the country by having sexual intercourse with them before they go to war. This is their way of explaining the women are helping them to satisfy their needs before they leave for war. This whole situation happens in Congo, and it's still happening, and there are interviews of these men explaining like it's a normal thing, like all the countries should do it. They don't really understand the impact it has on the women in Congo. This dates back to when women were considered lower than men, when their rights were dismissed and ignored, when all they were looked at as were reproduction tools. Some are quick to assume that this only applies to men raping women. However, this sense of oppression could lead to anger in women, which would make them want to prove their strength to men. Obviously, their strength is misinterpreted. The bottom line is men rape women because they follow traditional ways or traditional teachings, and women rape men to prove their superiority. Hate rape happens in the LGBT community, also known as lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender community.
Corrective rape is a hate crime in which one or more people are raped because of their perceived sexual orientation or gender identity. The common intended consequence of the rape, as seen by the perpetrator, is to turn the person heterosexual or enforce conformity with gender stereotypes.
This I have personally titled because it refers to the rapist who is also a victim. So what happens is that this rapist, before this person became a rapist, they experienced rape during their early childhood before they were able to differentiate between right and wrong. So when they are exposed to all of this at such a young age, they honestly can't tell what's right or wrong when they're older unless someone really tells them, or they listen to it on the news or maybe through social network. It's very sad because to think of them being raped at like the age of 2 or 3 and then doing the same thing to someone else without knowing that they're wrong is just depressing. So this is where judgment gets really messy, because this person is a rapist and also they became a rapist because they were a victim. So the fact that they have no psychological factors like their id, their super ego, and their ego are not really aligned to help them, would you put them in jail? Would you make them serve penalty if you were the judge to this case? I'm gonna leave that at that. When a country has a lot of restraints, people often travel overseas to escape these restraints. This escape leads them to break the rules that the country has made and perform them in another person's country. They think this way I won't get caught and I won't get to serve penalty in jail or maybe even death. So this is the best way to describe travel rape. However, it is not the only reason to why it happens, because people from a richer country would move to a poorer country and feel above the rules. Therefore, they would commit sexual assaults on maybe minors. It can happen. It does happen, actually. Technology has come very far throughout the years, with new inventions that help us with our daily work, make it easier for our lives. Not only that, but it has also allowed long-distance relationships to experience communication emotionally and sexually. So, when it comes to cyber rape, we're gonna focus on the sexually experience. Technology has brought different ways to communicate sexually. One of the most famous ways, especially in long distance relationships, is the pair play toys, where one of the partners can control the other toy from a faraway distance. So, where does cyber rape come into this? Cyber rape happens when a third party hacks this communication between the pair play and starts controlling it instead of the party that is supposed to control the device. The creepiest part is that the victim doesn't know that she's being raped until quite some time afterwards.
Yes, I do believe one can be raped by the partner, because in a partnership or in a relationship or in a marriage, it is two people, so they have to agree to everything. You cannot force yourself on another person because this you are part of their life. Each one is an individual. They have their own thinking ability. So the other person has to agree. If you don't agree, it's not. And definitely it is a rape. That's what I feel.
I've chosen to discuss about why victims are blamed when it comes to rape. This is because when I handed out surveys, a lot of the answers for who was at fault was both, and I was very shocked. So I asked them, why? Why would you say both? And they gave me information which I'd like to share. So they say the fact that you go online and you communicate with strangers, I guess flirting with strangers and everything, that's sort of like asking to be raped. Or so that's what the people from my survey have informed me about. This has been a debate for a very long time. We are taught to not get raped instead of not rape. I don't think there's such a thing as asking to be raped, because rape is something that is done without consent. If someone says no, you don't do it. Let's just say you ask somebody like, hey, do you want a lollipop? And they say, no thank you. Do you stuff it into their mouth? No. You just say okay, and then you walk away. So for this reason, I would like to explain about the incident in New Delhi where a couple on a bus was gang raped. What happened in this bus was that it was nighttime, maybe 9, maybe 10, and this group of boys came into the bus and was picking on this couple and was like, you shouldn't be out here late at night and everything to the girl, because India is very, very dangerous. still, it doesn't mean the girl can't be out at night at 9. So the bus driver was there, and after the incident happened, the bus driver was like, oh, it's the girl's fault, she shouldn't be out so late at night. And the best part is that even the rapists would not admit to fault. That's how bad rape is. So they basically blamed the girl for being in the wrong place at the wrong time and not being protected enough.
I think basically the rapist is at fault. The victim is someone who doesn't ask for it. There's no such thing as asking for it. That's one thing. And the thing is that the rapist has the liberty to do or not to do. Even a woman can walk, or a man can walk in front of you naked. You still have the liberty to do or not to do. You see? So you are given the intelligence, the mind, to not to do something. So the fault lies at the rapist, unless he is mentally, maybe he's a psychopath. Then we can't do anything, you know. I feel it's definitely the rapist's fault, because you have the choice to choose.
My final subtopic: controversial debates. So the first controversial debate that popped up when I googled it was victims asking for it. Nobody gets up in the morning and wears maybe short shorts and maybe a tube top and say oh yeah, I want to get raped today. It's never like that. You don't go out and dress like you're yeah, rape me. No, that's not a thing. And you can't even point your finger oh, that girl, she wants to get raped by how she's dressing. She just is confident with her body. And it's sad to know that a lot of people don't respect that. Next one was, if one is drunk or under the influence of drugs, would it still be considered rape? This is a tough question, but in my opinion, yes. Because how did this person wait, who are we talking about first? Are we talking about the victim, or are we talking about the suspect? If the victim was drugged, we have to find out who drugged her or him, and why were they drunk, and how did it lead to them having sexual intercourse with the other person. A lot of investigation needs to happen before you can make your final decision. The next debate was rape trials and punishments. I am not a person who believes in death penalties, because I feel like everybody has a little bit of humanity in them and one can change. So when it comes to rape, it depends on the extent. For example, if this person really doesn't want to admit to it and blames the victim for what happened to her, then maybe the death penalty is good. But if the person knows what they did was wrong, then I think they could do maybe 5 to 10 to 20 years in jail and community service after, and then maybe patrol, or maybe I think patrol and community service is the same thing. If they did that, it would be good. For this project, types of rape. No, I like it. Number 3. Oh dang, shouldn't do that. Technology, man. Plus, I feel like stuffing a lollipop in the mouth is very painful. Plot twist. Rape is a very wild pair play toys. And that's that.